Yeah, what's up, man? Base boxing basement, Triple B right here. Looking out for Australian fans. Yeah, I. Do you know what? Australian boxing fans must be the hardest done fans in the world. Yeah, because whenever there's a half decent bill, it's usually pay per view. You know, you pay $80 to watch a rugby player, fight a journeyman on pay per view. It's crazy. And they've got this bill coming up, and they've said this is a stacked bill. It's a stacked bill, okay? And let's look and see if it's stacked. It's got George Kambosos, okay? George Kambosos was originally meant to fight some guy called Dawood Jordan or something from Philippines. There's a last-minute replacement called Jake Wyllie. Then we'll get onto that in a minute. Then you got Sky Nicholson as the undercard main bill. Sky Nicholson. And then Chernaka Johnson, another woman. He's another woman who's 41. And this is going to be a stacked bill. Luckily, there's Teremoana Jr. on the undercard. But he's, fighting a guy who's a bit of a journeyman. I mean, it's all a joke, isn't it? All this stuff. Let's look at this alleged stacked bill. Pop that up. Now, it's on DAZN, right? But that means if you don't have DAZN and you're going to pay a monthly pass, right? How many Aussie bucks is that? Do you have to shell out for this alleged stacked bill? Well, if you want the monthly pass, it's $29.99. So let's say you just wanted to watch this fight in a month's fight. It's $29.99. And if you want to buy the yearly package, which is meant to which is meant to save you money, it's $225 a year. It's crazy, man, how much they stitch up Australian fans. And there have been so many great Aussie boxers. Jeff Fennick, Jeff Harding. You got Jay Opataya. You know what I'm saying? You got Teremoana Jr. coming on. I mean, what is this, man? And the main event is George Kambosos Jr. Now, I ain't got no hatred against George. He's a warrior, yeah. He's done very well. Basically, he had his big win against Teofimo Lopez by split decision to win a world title. And that was a great win for Australia, yeah, and for him. But that's in 2021. Since 2021, right, the end of 2021. So we're looking at over 3.5 years ago almost. Yeah, he's had 4 fights. 2 against Devin Haney, which he lost clearly. 1 against Maxi Hughes. He was given a majority decision, but most people think he lost it. And he got stopped by Vasyl Lomachenko. And now he's fighting Jake Wyllie, who's like a local guy, right? He's from Australia. He's last minute replacement. He has a decent record. 16 wins, 50 wins by way of KO, 1 loss by KO, but that 1 loss was in 3 rounds. My dog's drinking, so if you hear that noise, man, that's just Tyson drinking. He had a loss, KO'd in 3 rounds by a guy called Fawesi Izako, who had no wins and 2 losses. Okay? So, I mean, come on, man. Think about that, man. I mean, he's got a great record on paper, and he's beaten a few guys with half-decent records, but this is the main event. A guy who got stopped in 3 rounds in 2023, and he had a record of 0-2-0. I mean, it's just crazy, bro. Yeah. I mean, like I said, Kambosos is a warrior. He's tough, but he's just not that great. He had a great night. He beat Liz Selby. That was a good win. He had a great night against Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez, though, being another underrated guy. Overrated guy, I should say. He's basically got his wings by having 1 good fight, which is beating Lomachenko. He beat Taylor as well later, but his main win is against Lomachenko, which was disputed. So you got a guy who's arguably lost his last 4 fights, who hasn't won a fight since 2021, right? Against Teofimo Lopez. Fighting a guy who got knocked out in 2023 by a guy who had 2 fights and 2 losses. That's your main event, Aussies. Yeah, that's crazy. And then you got Sky Nicholson. I mean, come on, man. Sky Nicholson is one of the wackest boxers I've ever seen. I mean, she's a women's boxer. Like I said, there's only 1,500 women boxers. You know. So there's so many world champions and other kind of championships floating around. They're all champions, basically, if they want to be. I worked out there's about over 3,000 championships available, including national, world, continental, this kind of stuff, right? And there's only 1,500 women boxers. I mean, that just goes to show you how whack it is. And Sky Nixon's terrible. Terrible. She can't box. She just sits there lankily throwing out these kind of weak punches. But look at her now. Look at her physique now. Look at those bulging muscles. She's never had muscles like that. Sky Nicholson, Eddie Hearn's side piece. He's been busted. Turning up at her house, leaving his shoes at her house. Everyone knows. Didn't some famous boxer call him out? Yeah, it was Oscar De La Hoya. It was Oscar De La Hoya, right? Who called him out for being with Sky. So, yeah, everyone knows you're shagging Sky Nicholson, right? Anyway, she seems to have gone on the egg. She's suddenly developed these massive muscles. And maybe she needs them, right? Why? Because this is who she's fighting. She's fighting a man, by the look of things. A man. Look at this. Look at this man she's fighting. Look at him. Oh, no, sorry, that's Ohara Davies. She's fighting Tiara Brown. But Tiara Brown looks exactly like Ohara Davies. He looks like a man. It's got like 18 wins, 11 KOs. And I've watched it, and it's terrible as well. I mean, and this is meant to be the co-main event, or the lead up to the main event, the preliminary to Kambosos fighting a guy who lost recently to a guy with only 2 fights, both losses. What kind of nonsense is this, man? This Tiara Davies, so I watched a bit of her, and, you know, she's, I don't know, maybe she's got a chance. I don't care. It's so whack anyway. She's totally whack, but so's Sky Nicholson. She might overwhelm her with work rate. Again, I just don't care. But with the eggs, Sky's sudden muscular physique, she might be able to actually score a genuine stoppage. Who knows? And then the lead up to that fight is another women's fight, Shernaka Johnson, right? Defending her alleged world title against a woman called Nina Hughes. It's a rematch. This Nina Hughes is from the UK. She's extremely ugly. Her eyes are too close together, right? And she's 42 years old. Yeah, and she looked like the banjo player in Deliverance. So this Shernaka Johnson, right, and Sky Nixon, they're the lead-up fights to Kambosos fighting a bum. Shernaka Johnson vs Nina Hughes, whose eyes are too close together, and is 42 years old. What, these are the 3 top fights on a stacked card? And who would buy a ticket? Who on earth would buy a ticket to such a rubbish card, let alone have to pay for it, to sign up to DAZN to watch this nonsense? I mean, I feel sorry for me Aussie fans, cyborg boxing, etc. You know, Liam in Chains. You guys got to watch this nonsense? I mean, I sign up to DAZN because in some ways it is the heart of boxing. I don't get, I don't know how much it costs me, about £100 a year. But I had to do it in advance. But at least now with Warren, with Hearn, and Turkey's bills and the pay-per-views on DAZN, it's probably worth signing up. It's the only one I will sign up for, right? I won't sign up to Sky. I won't sign up to Sky or any other rubbish that's around. But, so is there any shining light on the bill? I mean, how much are tickets for this nonsense? Imagine buying a ringside seat to watch Kambosos, who's arguably lost his last 4 fights, against a guy who got KO'd recently, less than 2 years ago, by a guy who had no wins and 2 losses. An egged up Sky Nicolson vs someone who looks like Ohara Davies. A 42-year-old woman fighting some other skank. Right? How can anybody buy a ticket to this bill? Right? Oh, they've got Iman Katayev is on the bill. Now Katayev is good. He's from Russia originally, but he's moved to Australia. He lost in the semi-finals, right, of the Olympics to Ben Quitica on a close points decision. So he's he's got a good amateur pedigree. He's got 9 wins and 9 KOs. Okay. And he's dangerous, but he's still in the prospect stage. You know, he's not going to fight anyone special at this stage. But it's always interesting to watch these guys, these prospects, you know. And he's tearing through the divisions. We'll see. He's fighting a sort of journeyman type who, you know, he's got 14 wins and 3 losses from Argentina. He seems like he's fairly dangerous with 11 KOs, and he actually lost 2 fights before to Kevin Lele Sajo, who's world ranked on a 12-round unanimous decision. So actually he's not bad. He's higher than a journeyman. I would disrespected him a bit. But Khatayev should win that. And then, of course, we've got my main man, you know, who is my pick. Who's my pick to be one of the next generation of heavyweights. And that is, of course, Teremoana Jr., originally from the Cook Islands. He originates from the Cook Islands. Yeah, from the Cook Islands, which is tiny, less than 14,000 people. Of course, he boxed for Australia in the Olympics. Oh, I can't remember if I mentioned his name. I'm talking about Teremoana Jr. Now, he went the distance in the Olympics, in the last Olympics. I think it was the quarterfinals against Bakudir Jalolov, but gave him a decent fight. Anybody who gives Jalolov a decent fight is good. He had turned pro previously in 2020 and took time off to go back to the Olympics. But he, to me, is a serious prospect. 6 wins, 6 KOs. He's charismatic. He's 27, 6'6", long arms, can really punch. He comes across as he's got long hair and a ponytail. He looks a bit like Jason Momoa, but he comes across very well. He's very likable in interviews. So, yeah, of course, I'll be pleased to watch him, you know. There's a Hemi Ahio, who's a kind of heavyweight prospect. He has 1 loss. He has got 1 loss against Faiga Opelu, who's not exactly great. He beat him in a split decision rematch. He's knocked out Lucas Brown in a round, but, you know, that Lucas Brown was shot. You know, I don't see him doing much on the world scene. And you know what? I mean, I just can't get over the fact how they stitch up poor Australian fight fans with poor bills, you know, putting guys like Paul Galen on, you know. There have been a couple of dodgy fights that looked like they were set up. Didn't Paul Galen knock out Lucas Brown in something that looked very dodgy? Also, there was that fight. Do you remember that fight? When the guy gave up in 25 seconds. He got knocked out in 25 seconds. Let me have a look. Yeah, that was it. Paul Briggs. He used to be a super champion. He got knocked out in like 25 or 29 seconds by Danny Green off a glancing shot. There's some dodgy fights that happen in Australia. But, yeah, there we go, man. I mean, I'll watch it because I've got DAZN. You know, I watch it in the morning. I want to see, but my main interest is seeing Teremoana Jr. and Iman Katayev. But apparently they're below the bill to Sky Nicolson vs Ohara Davies and Cherneka Johnson vs someone's granny. I mean, it's embarrassing, huh? I don't know what you Aussie fans think, man. Please tell me in the comments, but, you know, whoa. I'm a bit shocked, man. I'm a bit shocked by how whacked it is. And allegedly, it's a stacked bill. Boxing gets more and more embarrassing. Peace in the Middle East.